Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Astrology Now podcast. My name is Christine Rodriguez, and today we are going to be discussing the December 2025 horoscope. I am so excited. Y'all know, if you've been following this podcast for a while, my favorite time of the year is now. I absolutely love the end of the year. New Year's is my absolute favorite holiday. I'm so excited. And this is our final 2025 monthly horoscope. And of course, in January, we will have our 2026 predictions looking at our brand new year to come. And I just want to say 2025 was really eventful. Remember, between the months of March and May, we had Saturn change signs. We had Rahu and Ketu change signs, and we had Jupiter change signs. It's not very often that we have all of these major social planets, karmic indicators, shift signs at once. And so this year really was this turning point for us as a collective. And it was just such an honor to be with you all. I highly recommend going back, listening to the January predictions for the year just to see how everything matched up, because I feel like everything played out pretty specifically, especially my 2025 prediction workshop. I'm contemplating if I want to publish that or not. I don't know if it would be helpful. It's kind of fun to go through and see how all of the predictions manifest. So maybe I'll do that on YouTube. I don't know yet. But anyway, getting into December, looking at our final month of 2025. So as we open this month, we're still in Scorpio season. We have this stellium in Scorpio. And as we move through the month, we're going to move into Sagittarius season, where we have a building stellium in the sign of Sagittarius. So we're going to talk about these energies. We're going to talk about the full moon and the new moon, of course, other significant astrological ongoings as well. As always, if you're not familiar to Vedic sidereal astrology, you can go to my website, innerknowing.yoga, click on offerings and then chart. I have other offerings available as well if you are interested in learning more about Vedic astrology, the nakshatras, the houses, whatever it is that you're curious about. I have a lot of resources there. So, getting into our horoscope. First of all, as we start the month off from December 1st through June 29th of 2026, the karmic node of Rahu enters the asterism Shatabisha. This is a huge shift, okay? So Shatabisha is an asterism that is associated to the 100 healers. Healing, care, medicine, while Rahu, which is the planet of the future, progress, moving things forward, as it moves through Shatabisha, I anticipate that this will be a period of scientific breakthroughs, medical breakthroughs, breakthroughs with technology and innovation, maybe even space exploration or matters involving outer space. I also want to say with Rahu and Shatabisha, again from December 1st until June 29th, there could also be some sort of emphasis on alcohol. Shatabisha is notoriously connected to alcohol as well. So these are things to be looking out for. If you have planets in Shatabisha in your birth chart, that means that Rahu, the karmic node, is transiting your natal planets. So I did want to note that for everyone to track. Now, as I was mentioning, as we move into December, we're kicking it off with this Mars, Venus, Sun combination in Scorpio. And so we spoke about this on the previous podcast. If you have not yet listened, I do recommend going back and listening. Of course, we covered it extensively on Patreon as well. And a stellium is a combination of 3 or more planets. So when we have 3 or more planets in a sign, it creates a stellium, giving that sign exponential strength. And so this is in Scorpio. And Mars is in its own sign in Scorpio, so it is quite strong. It's with the sun, which is another hot, fiery planet. And now we have Venus, soft, sensitive little Venus here joining the party in Scorpio. So it's kind of intense. And on the plus side, as we've discussed, Venus, Mars, and Sun in Scorpio, which we'll have until December 7th. We'll have this combination through December 7th. And that is when Mars enters Sagittarius. But we'll still have a stellium in Scorpio. It's just Mars leaves, which kind of takes some of the intensity with it. But anyway, from now through December 7th, we have this intense stellium here in Scorpio. And Scorpio is the sign of transformation, alchemy, magic. It's associated to the number 8. The 8th house is sudden ups and downs, astrology, kundalini, yoga, metamorphosis of all kinds. This is a phenomenal time for personal work and big breakthroughs. And that could be counseling, coaching. It could be even getting a personal trainer. Scorpio loves to evolve, and that could be emotionally, mentally, or physically. And it is a pretty physical planet as well. Or, excuse me, a pretty physical sign, I should say, is Scorpio. And so there are these opportunities to shapeshift during this period. I mean, that's what Scorpio season is all about. Now, with the involvement of Venus, this offers an opportunity for a lot of intimacy, a lot of closeness, peeling back the layers, having alchemy in relationship. And that could even be with friends or business partners or family members. So there are positives to this combination for sure. Now, Scorpio is also the sign of depth, darkness, mysteriousness, the taboo. It has to do with vengefulness. It can be very angry. And so we do have to be aware of outbursts during this period, feeling vengeful, spiteful, controlling. And in the world around us, we may discover things about other people. It's like the veil is getting pulled back. Information may be being revealed. And I actually see a lot of this in the media right now. And how I see December going, because we're shifting from this really intense Scorpio season. It's not every year we have Mars in Scorpio for Scorpio season. And we're shifting into Sagittarius season. And so I see this as being like all of these things being revealed, people digging deep, people trying to find information. It's going to move into, well, now what are we going to do about it? Because Sagittarius is truth seeking. It is very focused on religion, philosophy, right and wrong. We're going to get into that. But this is kind of how I'm seeing the trajectory of December play out. Now, something else that I did want to discuss, I got this question from someone on Instagram. Yes, the planets are combust. Venus will be combust from November 26th through February 18th. It's not uncommon, really, for Venus to be combust because it often moves close to the sun. So not super uncommon, but pretty long combustion period. And Mars is going to be combust from November 7th through March 26th of 2026. So that's a long period of combustion for Mars. And so when planets are combust, there's usually a double-edged sword where on one hand, it can give us a lot of power. Like Venus can make us more creative, more artistic, more sensitive, intuitive, expressive, but it can also give us this sense of longing or feelings not being reciprocated or feeling misunderstood, feeling that we can't completely express ourselves the way that we're hoping to. Mars can give us this sense of being bold, courageous, action-oriented, taking charge, taking control, but it can also burn us out. It can give us power struggles with others. We can come off as too domineering. We may even struggle with aggression and explosive behavior. So that is the combust energy in a nutshell. Remember that combustion is when planets are too close to the sun. And so the sun kind of swallows the planets. So if we were to step outside and try to find Venus and Mars with our naked eye, we wouldn't be able to because they're too close to the sun. So hopefully that helps y'all. Thank you to my person for asking me that for clarity. So yes, So all of this scorpionic energy is, forming and having a big impact on ourselves and the world. I would say for us on a personal level, it's a really beautiful time to focus on personal development and taking personal accountability, really leaning into intimacy in a non-judgmental way towards ourselves and other people, being really curious, definitely spending time in the occult with tarot, mysticism, astrology, mediumship, whatever your interest is. And the things I would say to watch out for is the jealousy, control, manipulation, spitefulness, secretive behavior. Um, Being, really discerning about the people that you let in to your life. But a lot can be revealed. A lot can be revealed about ourselves and other people. And as I mentioned, on the plus side, it's an awesome time to go deep. And I have been having so many breakthroughs with clients, with myself, just going super deep, making big discoveries, facing inner demons head on. Like, it's been really powerful. So I've really enjoyed the Scorpio season, though, of course, it brought intensity as well. It brought intensity as well. So we have a full moon on December 4th in the sign of Taurus in the asterism of Rohini. So remember, the moon is exalted in Taurus. The moon is this planet that waxes and wanes. It has ups and downs and fluctuations, and it feels so cozy when it comes into this Venusian, stable, fixed sign of Taurus. The moon is about our happiness. Taurus is about the senses, kicking back, eating food, having cozy blankets and pillows. So the moon just loves it. The moon is exalted here. And so we do have our full moon on December 4th. Now, because we have the moon in Taurus, it also means that Moon and Uranus will be conjunct. So that adds a little bit of spiciness to it. There can be some sudden unexpected events. There can be something that is shocking. It's almost like tectonic plates shifting. It can kind of bring that energy in ourselves and around the world. Now, I also want to say that Uranus is astrology. So Moon and Uranus, it can bring epiphanies, downloads, discoveries, this inventive mind. So yes, it can feel intense. There can be some sudden unexpected events, but there can also be sudden unexpected ideas that are revolutionary. Now, there can also be revolutionary behavior in the world, for sure. The moon is opposing the sun, obviously, because in order to have a full moon, the moon and sun have to be opposing. So just kind of map this out in your mind's eye. So we have Moon and Uranus sitting closely in Taurus. So it's putting this emphasis on economy, stability, food, resources, comforts, that which brings us safety. And now, right across the street, we have the sun in Jeshta. We have the sun in Scorpio next to Mars, a combust Mars, which is hot, fiery, ready for action, and Venus. So we have Sun, Mars, and Venus in Scorpio. We have Moon and Uranus in Taurus. This is like an invitation. This is the invitation for an awakening, for personal discovery, personal revolution. One of the questions that I wrote down for this full moon, I may take a break this month. I don't know yet. My mom's coming to visit. Nate's coming home. I may take December off. So I just want to give y'all the lowdown now in case I am not here doing podcasts for this month. But a question that I wrote down for the full moon, what am I holding on to that feels safe, but may actually be keeping me from transforming? And I think about this a lot. I think about my ideal future. And then I think about steps that I would have to take to get there, or what it would practically feel like to move in that direction. And sometimes it can actually feel scary and intimidating. And so I really invite you all, we're coming up on the end of the year. It's almost time to set those New Year's resolutions. When we really think, when we embody it, when we really embody moving forward in the direction of our dreams, which fears come up? What's holding us back? What's keeping us from moving in that direction? Because a lot of the time, there are subconscious fears that are actually keeping us stagnant. And so once we pinpoint the fears, we can then begin working with them and transmuting them to kind of clear the way towards the future. But we have to be aware of the roadblocks first. And so I really do invite you all to use this as an opportunity to meditate on these things. So what is it that you're holding on to that feels safe but may actually be keeping you from transforming, keeping you from moving in the direction of your goals? Now, Taurus and Scorpio are both fixed energy. So this can be a moment where people are being stubborn, they're not wanting to cooperate, they're holding on to their own perspectives. It could be a time where we're feeling maybe a little bit stuck or stagnant. But again, we do have this opportunity for discovery. There may be something coming up with finances in the media. There may be something coming up with food. The full moon brings things to light. And so I am very interested. I am exceptionally interested to see what ends up coming up around this full moon, because I could absolutely see something being revealed, something dark, something that is surprising and shocking. That's what I am reading with this full moon energy. And the other thing is that this is in the midpoint of Rahu and Ketu, right? If we count 4 from Ketu, we get to this Venus and Mars. If we count 4 from Rahu, we get to the moon and Uranus. It's like there can be something that is discovered that is really shocking and really surprising. And again, maybe even dark and interesting. Now, in our own personal lives, again, we may have these discoveries. It may give us an opportunity to move forward. And the moon is exalted, so there could be some heightened emotions. There can be some heightened sensitivities. This is the opportunity to show up with consistency, security, and stability for those we love and the world around us. On December 5th, Jupiter is going to retrograde back into the sign of Gemini. So Jupiter entered Gemini in May. It sped through the sign of Gemini. It entered Cancer in October. Then Jupiter went retrograde in Cancer, and now it's shifting back into Gemini. So that Jupiter in Cancer, it only lasted like a month and a half. It's back in Gemini until June 1st. Okay, so Jupiter is going to be retrograde until March 10th. And then it will shift back into Cancer on June 1st. But from now until June 1st, Jupiter is in Gemini. I covered this for all 12 signs on Patreon this week, so that will publish on Sunday. So Jupiter in Gemini. So first of all, Jupiter's retrograde. Planets become stronger when they are retrograde. However, they are also twisted, right? A planet that is retrograde does not operate like a normal planet. It is not as straightforward, clear, or direct. And I explained this on Patreon. Whenever a planet retrogrades from one sign back into the previous sign, it always feels very symbolic to me, like there is some type of unfinished karma, unintegrated lesson, some type of like item that was left and not picked up. So there's something that's incomplete, something that we have to go back and do. And Jupiter is the planet of abundance, optimism, grace, prosperity, and also righteousness. What is right? What is wrong? It's shifting back into Gemini, the sign of technology, communication, travel, everything that we see on the media. AI, I would say that Aquarius and Gemini both have to do with AI. And so as Jupiter shifts back into Gemini, it's directly aspecting Sagittarius, which we're going to talk a lot about. This podcast is going to be very Sagittarius heavy. It's all about information, education, sharing ideas. There may be something with the school system, the education system that comes up. I believe that there will be topics around, or conversations being had rather, around AI, the ethics of AI, artificial intelligence, its place in art, movies, music, maybe even education, how those things can be integrated and used, tracked. Um, and of course, science, technology, scientific breakthroughs. There may even be something with health and wellness where people are like, is this ethical or is this right? I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening with that. And of course, one of my big interests is digital IDs, digital security. I do think that we will be seeing more of this coming up in the media, something that we are focusing on. Now, in our own personal lives, this is going to affect us each differently, right? Wherever Jupiter is retrograding back, there's something in that area of life that we're going to come in contact with, confront, be asked to reconcile. And Jupiter is the guru, is the teacher. It wants to help us learn. So there's something in relationship to that house that has lessons for us that we're meant to come into contact with and integrate. Some of us may even have certain opportunities in relationship to Gemini and the house that Gemini is in. So you can go to my website, innerknowing.yoga, click on offerings and then chart, find Gemini. Find where Gemini is in your chart, which house that is. That is where Jupiter is going to retrograde back. And if you need more help, I have playlists available on the houses and the signs and all of that. And then, of course, if you want to sign up for Patreon, it's patreon.com/astrologynowpodcast, where I do all of that work for you. But so I think that it's going to be interesting. And remember that when Jupiter shifts back into Gemini, it again has that aspect of Rahu, this mutual aspect where Rahu is aspecting Jupiter. Rahu is futuristic, moves things forward, has a karmic influence. It's aspecting Jupiter in Gemini, a sign of technology, communication. Jupiter in turn is aspecting Rahu in Aquarius. It's like we're going back. We're going back to all of this scientific technology, far out space exploration breakthrough period. Now, I also want to say that Jupiter in Gemini is young people. So there can be a focus on students, as I mentioned earlier, education, maybe even how technology is influencing kids, maybe some type of study comes out. So these are areas to watch for as well, but it's the future. We're going to see things again that we have never seen before. And Jupiter retrograde, it strengthens the energy. Jupiter is looking directly at the sign of Sagittarius, which again is belief systems, our value systems. So a lot of these scientific concepts, I think, will also bring up conversations around ethics and values. That is what I anticipate. So after that, so Jupiter retrogrades back into Gemini on December 5th. On December 6th, Mercury enters Scorpio. So on December 6th, we will have one day where Sun, Venus, Mars, and Mercury are all in Scorpio. So Mercury will be in Scorpio from December 6th through December 28th. But then right on December 7th, the day afterwards, Mars moves away from the party into Sagittarius. So Mars will be in Sagittarius from December 7th through January 15th of 2026. This is important because Mars is a planet that gives us energy, courage, will. It pushes us forward. It, of course, is also the planet of anger and aggression, but it makes us bold. And now it's in the sign of Sagittarius that is the sign of our belief systems, of righteousness, philosophy, what we govern our lives with. Sagittarius is 9. It is associated to the 9th house. This is the house of Dharma, our principles. And our principles are usually from some type of personal philosophy, spirituality, or religion. Sagittarius is associated to organized religion. And so now Mars is coming in and firing it all up. And it's aspected by Jupiter. Jupiter is in Gemini, Mars is in Sagittarius. There is all of this energy around religion, morals, personal philosophy. I think we are going to be seeing some butting of heads publicly in regards to religion and philosophy. And I think it can get pretty intense. I think that people are going to be standing in their principles, fighting for what they believe in. I love Sagittarius. Sagittarius is one of my favorite signs. And I want to talk about Sagittarius season. So let's just go ahead and segue into that because we're going to talk about the great things about Sagittarius, but then we're going to talk about the challenges of Sagittarius. So Mars is entering Sagittarius again on December 7th, where it will stay until January 15th. Then we have Sun in Sagittarius from December 15th through January 14th. So almost for the entire transit of Mars, the Sun will be here as well. And first of all, I just want to say happy birthday to all of our Sagittarius suns. If you were born between December 15th and January 14th, according to the sidereal system of astrology, your sun is in Sagittarius. So happy birthday to all of our Sagittarius friends. Thank you for keeping us on our toes, being thrill-seeking, fun, and philosophical. You always have the best conversations. So anyway, we have Sagittarius season coming on December 15th. Right after that, Venus will enter Sagittarius from December 19th through January 12th. So we have this stellium in Sagittarius now, including Mars. So all of that passion that we were discussing earlier, now it's shifting into Sagittarius. And again, we love Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the truth seeker. It is the visionary. It is the optimist. The only person I could convinced to go with me skydiving was a Sagittarius ascendant. Like, I love Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is radical, extreme. It can be extremely dogmatic. These are absolutely qualities to associate with the sign of Sagittarius. When we think of people who are willing to die for their beliefs, things like that can be Sagittarian in nature. They can get extreme. And so we can see this extreme behavior playing out in society during this period of time, I think. And we maybe not to that level, but we can see people who are really acting in an extreme radical behavior. And something else that I think is really interesting, we have a new moon in Sagittarius on December 19th. So on December 19th, we'll have Moon, Sun, and Mars in Sagittarius in the asterism of Mula. Mula is associated to Nuriti. She is the goddess of death and destruction. Mula is not an easy asterism. It's governed by Ketu. There is this association to the void. Nuriti is associated to absence and deprivation. Now, on the plus side, Mula has the best questions. I mean, if you've ever met anyone who has plans in Mula, they're extremely curious. They love to get, quote unquote, to the root of things. Mula is connected to this hole in the earth. It's like getting to the bottom, getting to the root, getting to the depths. There can be all of this insight and really spiritually enlightening. Like, this is in Sagittarius. So this is the time to be learning about our belief system, reading philosophy, reading spiritual texts, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, things that we find value in. So there can be these discoveries, but there may be intensity and clashing in the world in regards to our belief systems. There may even be something that's illuminated, Now, Jupiter is aspecting this new moon. So there could also be this healing quality, like maybe we're seeing this division around belief systems. It's coming to light. There is a call to bring people together, to heal this, to mend this. So I see it coming up and getting brewed. And then I think with Jupiter's aspect, it's like, how can we make this right? How can we find a balance here? So these are things to be watching out for as we move into Sagittarius season on a global level. On a personal level, we discussed a little bit about Mars and Sagittarius on a personal level, but for all of this, I think it is a beautiful time for traveling, exploration, wandering. It's like Sagittarius sets our mind free. It sets our mind and our body free. It's like such a beautiful time, again, to read, study, pick up new information, get with a friend, philosophize. It's amazing for taking a trip, for exploring a nearby mountain, nearby park, go swimming in a spring. Like, let yourself be free. It's a time to untether. And it is a time to ask ourselves where we're stuck in our belief systems or where our mind is stuck. What's keeping us from fully seeing the perspective of other people? And I do want to recommend, like around the holidays, just be mindful. It's not every year that we have Mars in Sagittarius during Sagittarius season. And so I pick your battles. Some things are worth going to battle for, some aren't. So just be aware when you're spending time with your loved ones. Just avoid unnecessary clashes. With that Venus in Sagittarius, this is one of my favorites. I love Venus in Sagittarius. December 19th through January 12th. It's like Venus is love, and it can have an association to fun and pleasure. And it's in Sagittarius, which is like this wild, I always think of like the wilderness when I think of Sagittarius. I think of freedom. And yeah, like grab some friends, go camping, jump into a creek, use a rope swing. It's just like having fun, being light, I don't want to say childish, but like tapping into the youthful part of ourselves, because we have this really cool Sagittarius Gemini energy. And I think that the world is going to be really serious. And I think it's going to be, I could be wrong, I hope it's not the case, but I think that the world, like the external world, is going to be embracing the harsher qualities of Gemini and Sagittarius. And so we can use our behavior to reflect the positive, light, enjoyable signs of Gemini and Sagittarius. Light, easy, fun, comedic, sharing ideas, philosophical, wandering into the wilderness, having a great adventure. And having an adventure can be going rock climbing. Having an adventure can be, going swimming on a day that you don't usually go swimming. It doesn't have to be a big deal, but let yourself be free, break out of your day-to-day routine, live a little. It's not that deep, So that's what I'm seeing on a personal level for our Sagittarius season towards the end of the month. After December 19th, that's when we're going to have Sun, Mars, Venus together. And then kind of towards the middle of the month, towards the 21st, we have that stellium in Mula, which we've already discussed. So let's see some extra notes I took. Getting to the root, wild information about belief. So again, like there could be something illuminated about someone in their belief system. Ramping up Sagittarius energy. We have this opposition of Jupiter, which gives an excited, free, philosophical quality. Something with leaders potentially being illuminated because of the sun's involvement here. The sun is associated to leaders and influencers, so maybe something around them and their belief system. Call to heal division, which is what I said. Religion may be a centerpiece. So these are the notes that I have. There's always so much to cover. I know that I probably miss a lot. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment on Spotify or send me something on Instagram if I'm on Instagram. Hopefully this was cohesive and easy to follow. If it wasn't, I recommend going back through with a calendar and just marking down the days on the calendar. It's going to be a lot easier to visualize. So I hope that you all have an amazing final month to the year. I hope that you lean into the amazing, positive, light energy of Sagittarius and Gemini and reflect that light and make the world a lighter, easier going, more accepting, curious place. So my website is innerknowing.yoga. Patreon is patreon.com/astrologynowpodcast. And my Instagram is astrologynow_podcast. My name is Christy Andreas. This is Astrology Now. See you next week or next year.